afternoon, sir. Thank you for joining us today. For those of you who don't know you, could you please briefly introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Yash Baranwal. I am a currently fourth year undergrad at Nit Jamshedpur pursuing EC branch, and I am an active member at Sece, that is the Society of Electronics and Communication Engineering. And currently, I am interning at Atlassian, and I am working as an SD intern.
Thank you, sir. Coming to your placement journey, we know that it's a quite a long road. Since you have been placed at Atlassian, could you tell us about your job profile?
Yeah, so my job profile is an SD intern, that is software development engineer intern, and currently I'm working in the front end team. So currently my tech stack is React, TypeScript, GraphQL, and those tech stacks.
So, sir, the next question is when and how did you start your placement preparations?
Okay. So I started my placement preparation after after the end of second year, where I started practicing on lead code and Geeks for Geeks, of course. So basically, होता ही है ना यार कि placement preparation and internship preparation aren't that different. So जो चीज़ मैंने इस intern के लिए पढ़ा था उसी को मैंने just like continued for my placement journey as well. So yeah, my placement journey consisted of around 1 to 1.5 years, and in that span, I was able to crack an internship as well as a placement opportunity at last year.
So for the next question, for development, why did you choose web over app?
तो देखो यार एक्चुअली लाइक अगर हम honestly बताएं ना तो I had started with app development at first, but after a few lectures of app development, I noticed that it wasn't my cup of tea because it involved a lot of uh, Gradle building and XML and those stuff. So when I explored web development, there were various tech stacks that I could have explored. Like there was HTML, CSS, and frameworks like front end framework like React, and also in backend I had various options like Node.js, choosing Node.js, or let's say like there could also have been Java as well, but I was mostly like comfortable with Node.js. So like I wandered into this Merge Stack profile. So yeah, all of my projects were on Merge Stack as well as React and those normal API fetching and stuff.
Okay, sir. So, moving on, could you please describe the interview process, like the number of rounds, questions, and the topics they asked on?
Okay. So the first criteria at Atlassian was the CG profile, of course. The CG criteria was 7. And coming to the OA round, there were, as far as I remember, there were 4 to 5 questions. And the difficulty was there. One was an easy, two was a medium level question, and two were medium level questions, and one was you could say hard, lead code hard, maybe. Yeah. So after which there were 20 to 22 people who qualified for the interview rounds, and I was one of them. And now coming to the first round of interview, the first round was completely DSA based. The interviewer mostly focused on topics like graph traversals, including DFS, BFS, and there was a medium level question on Dijkstra algorithm as well. Yeah, as far as I remember. Yeah. So that was the first round, and I was able to swiftly go through it because like graph was one of the most favorite topics that I loved during my placement preparation journey. And yeah, luckily the interviewer also asked about the same. And after the first round, the second round was of system design. So the questions, I'm not allowed to legally give out the questions for the system design round, but it wasn't like you needed to design Amazon or Flipkart or those complex websites. It was like normal website. You could have done it using your basic knowledge of system design. And
So coming on,
there was after this there was an HR round. And Atlassian, one thing that I found about Atlassian, that it completely, like not completely, it focuses mostly on your communication skills as well, like apart from your coding development and those knowledge aspects. It also looks at your communication skills, or for the instance your leadership aspects as well. So since I was the training and placement coordinator of NIT Jamshedpur EC branch, So I had quite a few stuff to talk about, and I guess that swooped the interview in my way. Yeah, so there were that makes it a total of one OA round and three interviews.
So since you just stated that you were training and placement coordinator, how did you manage your preparations along with this important position of responsibility?
सो लुक यार, मैं प्लेसमेंट कोऑर्डिनेटर बना था इन द मंथ ऑफ मे. सीनियर्स ने मुझे कहा था लाइक देयर वर टू प्लेसमेंट कोऑर्डिनेटर्स फ्रॉम आवर ब्रांच, सो दोनों को अच्छे से कहा गया था कि लाइक यू विल बी असाइंड प्लेंटी ऑफ लोड. द लोड वर्क वुड बी इट माइट हैपन दैट एट टाइम्स वो मैनेजेबल नहीं रहेगा. एंड आई फाउंड इट ट्रू बिकॉज काफी बार हुआ था ना कि लाइक कल कोई कंपनी आ रही है एंड आज किसी कंपनी का ओए है, एंड देयर वर टाइम्स लाइक ओए के बीच में ही एचआर का कॉल आ जाता था एंड स्टफ लाइक दैट. एंड ऑब्वियसली एचआरस को लाइक दो तीन बार कॉल करना पसंद नहीं है. दे गेट फ्रस्ट्रेटेड while calling you after a few attempts. So yeah, that I found that quite hectic at times, but on the other hand, it honed me as well. मेरा काफी communication skill काफी था उसमें. I found it improving, and apart from it, एक leadership aspect तो आता है यार उसमें. Like you get accustomed to managing your work, your load aspects and all. So yeah, I agree that the placement coordinator role that like wasn't that chill, but मजा भी काफी आया था इसको उठाने में. And coming to our second question, what were the perks of this position? Yeah, leadership सीखा काफी. Leadership and communication skills काफी improve हुआ. There were times when I needed to manage more than 2 to 3 companies at a time. तो उसमें professionalism भी तो like, सीख ही जाते हैं लोग, because you have to manage companies, and the future of the entire branch depends on the batch of your placement coordinators. So yeah.
So, moving on to the next question, sir. What do you think is the most challenging aspect of this job?
अभी तक तो Atlassian में वैसे कुछ खास चैलेंजिंग लगा नहीं है. लाइक there are tasks that are assigned to me that need some time to complete, and also like since I said that my team is currently a front end one, so I am mostly working on React and TypeScript. So सबसे पहले तो मुझे TypeScript आता नहीं था. JavaScript से TypeScript switch करना like it wasn't that easy, but yeah, हर चीज़ का एक learning curve होता है I guess, तो फिर वो भी उसी में था. And mm, अभी तो ऐसा चैलेंजिंग लगा नहीं है, बट या आई हैव गॉट टू लर्न अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स अबाउट फ्रंट एंड, योर architecture as well. And the best moment that I feel about the company is like the team actually works as a family. Like we get frequent lunch sessions, food coupons and those stuff. And apart from that, I love one thing that I love about the company the most is its flexible work hours. ऐसा नहीं है यहाँ पे कि सिर्फ 9 to 5 hours, like you need to work for 9 to 5. अगर तुम्हारे 5 घंटे का काम है तो you can complete your work and like log off your laptop. But there are few days that कभी कभी होता है ना कि like you need to scratch your head कि यार एक काम मिला हुआ है and हो नहीं रहा है. तो it was like वैसा कुछ दिन हुआ है. तो what I love about those days is कि like if I want to work from like let's say I log in my laptop at 12 and work till 4, यहाँ 4 घंटा हुआ, and if I want I can work at night as well, because मुझे like personally रात को जगना पसंद है. I mostly uh, sleep at around 3 to 4 in the night. So वहाँ पे 2 या 3 घंटे यूटिलाइज कर सकता हूँ मैं.
So moving on to the next question, how important is the CS fundamental, a core part for the placements? What kind of questions from the above mentioned topics were you asked during your interview?
Specifically, if I speak about Atlassian ने CS fundamentals पूछा नहीं था. As I said, one was a completely DSA based round, and the other one was a system design round. But in general, apart from Atlassian, as I know, each and every company focused on CS fundamentals. So CS fundamentals में वही तीन चार जो topics है: OOPS, DBMS, OS, and networking. तो ये चारों important topics है काफ़ी. And if a candidate leaves any one of them, it might happen कि यार interview में luck खराब रहा and interviewer उसी topic से पूछा. Like I've seen people जिन्होंने एक भी टॉपिक छोड़ा था एंड इंटरव्यू में एग्जैक्टली उसी टॉपिक से एक सिंपल सा क्वेश्चन पूछा था एंड दे weren't able to answer that. तो every future aspirer who is like working there, like working for software profiles, they need to be able to grasp these four topics. Yeah.
So moving on, sir, please share your experiences as a summer intern in Samsung and how different is the work culture of Atlassian from Samsung.
हम्म, देखिए सैमसंग में मैं 2 महीने काम किया था, तो उसमें मुझे 5G टीम असाइंड हुआ था, विच वाज नोन एज नेटवर्क एंड OEM कॉल. So it was mostly about managing 5G technologies, writing codes in C modules, and like one thing that I wasn't like quite satisfied with it was like as you know, most of my projects were in Stack, React, and those aspects. But Samsung में पूरा different team मिल गया था, which was completely working in C. तो जो 5G modules था उसको हमें C में लिखना था, and we needed to do that testing as well in Google G Suite. So या वो भी एक अपना चैलेंज था यार, बिकॉज स्टार्टिंग से एक न्यू टेक्नोलॉजी ग्रास्प करना, स्टार्टिंग से पढ़ना एंड बी प्रोफिशिएंट इन दैट. ऑब्वियसली प्रोफिशिएंट हो नहीं पाया था बिकॉज 2 महीने बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं होते. बट या आई गॉट टू लर्न अबाउट न्यू स्टफ, एंड काफ़ी कूल भी था बिकॉज 5G कैसे काम करता है. उस वक्त तो नया 5G का ट्रेंड भी था, तो फोन में 5G मॉड्यूल्स कैसे पकड़ते हैं, 5G कनेक्ट कैसे होता है, वो सब काफ़ी अच्छे से इन डेप्थ नॉलेज मिला. And apart from that, currently at Atlassian में जो भी काम है, it's not about testing or working in C. It's completely development based. So we develop features, we implement them, we deploy those features as well, and whatever changes that we make are directly used by our clients. So काफी एक खुद में एक फील गुड फैक्टर होता है ना, कि मैं कुछ काम कर रहा हूँ एंड डेवलप कर रहा हूँ एंड सामने वाला को यूज कर रहा है, एंड सामने वाला इज लाइक, since Atlassian is a SaaS company, and every like most of the companies use Jira and Confluence as their like management tools. So like around the world there are thousands and lakhs of companies which use Jira and Atlassian, Jira and Confluence. So it feels nice कि हाँ यार मैं कुछ काम कर रहा हूँ and directly उतनी सारी companies affect हो रही है. So yeah, that's also another point that I love about Atlassian.
So moving on to the next question. Could you please give us a guided roadmap to the web development or strategy to prepare for the same?
देखो टू बी ऑनेस्ट, हर इंसान का अपना मे भी रोड मैप हो सकता है, एंड इट्स नॉट लाइक कि एक स्पेसिफाइड रोड मैप दे दे एंड बस वही फॉलो करे तो ही डेवलपमेंट होगा. So speaking about myself, what I did was there was a course of Angela Yu, a complete roadmap. Like, what roadmap was, I guess, a complete boot camp of web development. So I did that during my like during the end of my second year, and उसने एक्चुअली प्रोजेक्ट में लाइक अपने कोर्स में एक प्रोजेक्ट में बनाया था रिएक्ट का, विच वाज अ नोट कीपिंग ऐप एज फार एज आई रिमेंबर. सो एक वो तो मैंने रखा था अपने प्रोजेक्ट में. And apart from that, I needed to learn backend as well, because backend एक कोर्स से खत्म नहीं होता है. You need to make projects on it. तो मैंने like I searched YouTube for those projects and tutorials and like those aspects as well. And I was able to come up with an e-commerce website that was completely Stack based. And apart from that, I also developed a chat application which used it's React for the front end, and for backend it mostly used Node.js and a socket library for sockets. So तो एज ए सेड इट माइट बी डिफरेंट फॉर डिफरेंट पीपल. कुछ लोग ऐसे होते हैं कि स्टार्टिंग से उन्हें खुद कोड करना पसंद है, राइट फ्रॉम द स्क्रैच, आफ्टर सीइंग डॉक्यूमेंट्स लाइक डॉक्यूमेंटेशंस ऑन दीज टेक स्टैक एंड इम्प्लीमेंटिंग देम. बट एज ए सेड मुझे थोड़ा टाइम लगा. मैं लाइक सिंस दिस वाज कंप्लीटली न्यू टू मी, तो आई हैड सर्च यूट्यूब फॉर दोज वीडियोज. यूट्यूब में काफ़ी कुछ कुछ ट्यूटोरियल्स ऑन स्पेसिफिक टेक स्टैक मैंने देखा था, लाइक रिएक्ट हो गया, नोड जेएस हो गया. And there was a channel known as JavaScript Mastery that brings out one of the best projects you can put on your resumes. So I followed that as well.
Okay. So moving on, sir, is there anything such as any hobby or activity that cheers you up whenever you are burdened with workload?
Yeah, actually, a few days. back I had learned playing guitar. Like अभी pro तो नहीं है but ठीक ठाक बजा लेता हूँ. So I like to pick it up and play a few beats and songs when I feel tensed or uh, maybe a bit stressed. And apart from that, I have a few friends whom I can call anytime in these 24 hours. They're always available. So yeah.
So coming to the next question, can you tell me about a difficult work situation and how you overcame it?
During my like after I have started interning at Atlassian or before that.
So anywhere,
Okay,
in
so
any of the companies.
yeah. Yeah. So like since I mentioned that I was the training and placement coordinator of my branch, there were quite quite some moments where it felt कि like अब दोनों match में problem हो रहा है. Like there were HRs calling at the same time. I had to give OAs and as well on the other hand. So एक वो match करने में difficulty था थोड़ा and इसके अलावा इसके अलावा पता नहीं, I find myself quite lucky that I haven't faced such difficult work situations where you feel कि यार अब नहीं हो रहा है. So as I said, there were like I had made one of the best groups in my college life, and I am thankful to them as well for supporting me throughout my college life.
Moving on, sir, please briefly describe your HR round and what do you think is the significance of an HR round?
Okay. देखो यार एक्चुअली ना हमारा दो टाइप के लोग एचआर ले सकते हैं. वन इज एन एचआर and another one is an engineering manager. And if it's the engineering manager, then your HR round will be like focused more on tech rather than HR. So mine was taken by an engineering manager, and he was mostly interested in my project work, like what tech stacks did I use, and along the way he said me that he told me like ये tech stack इसमें हम लोग Atlassian में use करते हैं, ये नहीं करते हैं, and like he said that we don't use Node.js over here. It's mostly Java and Spring Boot. So like it was quite interesting, and I asked him कि यार like, Java and Spring Boot में like difference क्या है Node.js में? Why don't you prefer Node.js and all? And like if I put into perspective, then out of let's say 15 to 20 questions, around 90% was from my projects, and the rest were from my leadership aspects. Like I had mentioned that I had previously worked as an internship coordinator at Nit Jamshedpur, and he was quite intrigued by it and asked like, what were the leadership aspects about it? What did you do? How did you work? And yeah, one thing that I am saying again and again is that your communication skills, your technical aspects, and leadership skills, these three combined are taken into consideration while your interview at Atlassian. And yeah, the HR round was around 40 to 45 minutes, and once I gave the round, I was like quite confident enough that कि यार round अच्छा गया है, chance है निकलने का. And when the result came, it was positive as well.
So moving on to the next question, since we all know that a few companies only ask system design or have a special round for system design. So what type of questions were asked from system design and a brief path for preparing it for the interview?
तो देखो यार फ्रेशर लेवल पे सिस्टम डिज़ाइन बस बैडली इंडिया में 10 to 15 कंपनीज होंगी जो पूछती है, एंड आउट ऑफ विच Atlassian was one. So at fresher level they don't expect कि तुमको सिस्टम डिज़ाइन आएगा SD2 या फिर SD3 लेवल्स का, but they expect you to have a fairly deep knowledge about it, like let's say how to design a microservice, or basically how to integrate your APIs, how to write and fetch your APIs and stuff. So to be honest, मैंने system design के लिए कभी specifically पढ़ा नहीं था. Before the interview, when I came to know that Atlassian system design पूछती है, तो एक दिन पहले मैंने गौरव से कुछ videos देखा था, and one thing that I focused on was how to present my ideas before the interviewer. सो सिस्टम डिजाइन ऐसा नहीं होता है कि यू लाइक दे आस्क यू अ क्वेश्चन एंड तुमको थ्रू आउट एंड तक तुमको वो बताना पड़ता है, नहीं, इट्स लाइक वन टू वन लाइक इंटरेक्शन, तुमसे इंटरव्यू पूछेगा कि व्हाई डिड यू डू दिस एंड व्हाट्स द जनरल पर्पस ऑफ डूइंग दिस एंड दैट. So after that, one thing like I'd like to say is मैंने projects काफी अच्छे से किया था, and since mine was a month stack, so I had specifically prepared backend as well. So मुझे REST APIs हो गया, फिर तुम्हारा database वगैरह हो गया, तो सबका अच्छे से था knowledge. So there were quite some questions from the interviewer like कि तुमने NoSQL database क्यों use किया है यहाँ पे instead of using an SQL database. And apart from it, while designing the API, he specifically asked, why did you specifically like use the REST architecture when there are others as well, like GraphQL हो गया, फिर तुम्हारा SOAP architecture होता है ये सब. So I swifted through that, and there were a few times when I found myself stuck because obviously बहुत ज़्यादा deep knowledge तो था नहीं. So मैंने interview को काफी honestly बताया था कि यार sir, I'm not comfortable in these topics because like it's just been a night before when I dived into this topic, right? So he was quite considerate enough, and again he was like he was quite impressed, I'll say, because like as I had said that I had mentioned him that it wasn't long before when I had started preparing for system design, and after the interview he said like you are on the right path. Just like, you need to dig into a few videos as well, and yeah, this was his last line to me.
So, lastly, sir, do you have any advice for the freshers for our second years and third years?
देखो जो फ्रेशर्स हैं, मैंने काफ़ी लोग का डीएम्स देखा है लिंक्डइन पे कि दे आर आस्किंग कि सर मुझे भी जाना है आपकी कंपनी में, मुझे भी अच्छा प्लेसमेंट लेना है, तो क्या करें. So a small advice that I would like to give to them कि यार तुम लोग हड़बड़ाओ मत, अभी आगे पूरा 4 साल रखा हुआ है, एंड 4 साल में तुम लोग के सीनियर्स इतने हेल्पफुल है कि वो लोग गाइड करेंगे ऑन एवरी पाथ ऑफ एवरी स्टेयर ऑफ योर जर्नी. एंड फॉर सेकेंड ईयर्स आई जस्ट से कि तुम लोग का अभी इंटर्नशिप सीजन शुरू होने वाला है, तो like start your preparation journey as like with obviously with platforms like Lead Code and GFG and those stuff. And apart from that, also be well versed with these CS fundamentals as well. Because intern में मैं जितनी भी कंपनीज का इंटरव्यू देखा था उसमें मोस्टली पूछा वही था, oops and OS. There were very few companies who asked questions from DBMS and computer networking. Even placement में भी computer networking में Qualcomm हो गई, and दो तीन कंपनी को छोड़ के और भी पूछा नहीं था कंप्यूटर नेटवर्किंग से. तो मोस्टली 3 टॉपिक्स तुम लोग फोकस कर सकते हो. So apart from this, coming to the third years जिनका भी placement journey शुरू होने वाला है, तो a small piece of advice for them would be कि तुम लोगों को पता है तुमको placement journey या placement preparation अच्छे से हो चुका है. You are just revising those topics and honing those skills as well, because लॉन्ग रन में यार हम ये बोलेंगे ना कि तुम लोग का कॉन्फिडेंस लेवल हो गया, योर मोरल हो गया, ये सब बहुत मैटर कर जाता है बिकॉज कंपनीज बहुत सारी है. दैट्स लाइक वन थिंग दैट आई कैन अश्योर यू, तुम लोग का प्लेसमेंट होना ही होना है. एक एक बंदे का प्लेसमेंट होता है, एक एक इंसान का, बिकॉज फॉर द पास्ट फ्यू इयर्स ईसी हैज बीन प्रॉमिसिंग, ईसी एंड सीसी हैव बीन प्रॉमिसिंग 100% प्लेसमेंट्स फॉर इट्स स्टूडेंट्स. एंड मैं यही कहना चाहूँगा कि तुम लोग बस डिस्करेज मत होना. तुम लोग देखो कि आसपास में तुम्हारे फ्रेंड्स प्लेस हो रहे हैं, आसपास में लाइक तुम्हें जिनका एक्सपेक्टेशन नहीं था वो लोग प्लेस हो जा रहे हैं, बट होता है. It's just your destiny to land you up in the company that's completely made for you. तो कोई ना कोई कंपनी तुम्हारे लिए बनी रहेगी, वो तुम्हें उठाएगी. बस अपना मोरल हाई रखना throughout the way. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you, sir, for joining us today. It was really an inspiring journey. We hope to see you back in the campus once again.
Definitely. Thanks, guys.